Hello everyone and welcome to the official patch notes for Wild Rift patch 6.1. We'll be breaking down and giving you my reaction to all of the changes that are coming to Wild Rift tomorrow in the brand new patch. We got new champions, champion changes, new items, Vanguard being introduced to Wild Rift for the first time, and so much more. Before we dive into the patch notes, I have been given some giveaway codes to give away to you all, my lovely community. Wild Rift have given me some random skin chests to give to you all, so I'm going to be giving some away in this video. All you have to do is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and leave any comment down below, and then you'll be entered into the giveaway. And I'll take a few days and then I'll give out the codes to some of you as well. Maybe give me your reactions to patch 6.1. Let me know what you think of the new champions. Maybe your thoughts on Vanguard. We'll talk about that obviously a little bit later on, but I think that's the big topic in this video, is talking about Vanguard and the new anti-cheat that's coming into Wild Rift. So let's go from the start. So obviously we have the introduction, we have Rise coming out tomorrow. I'm not too sure if I'm going to be staying up to do a Rise video. I think my plan is to wake up early morning on April the 17th and just grind out the new patch and try out the new items and the new champions. I have been taking a bit of a break from like content and YouTube in general because I've been feeling quite sick. I've got allergies and yeah, everything's happening at once at the moment with me, so it's a bit all over the place at the moment. But I probably won't stay up for the guide, but I'll probably be streaming the day after, so keep an eye out on YouTube and Twitch for my live stream. Of course, we have the Wild Pass, which I'm pretty sure the Wild Pass skin is Twisted Fates. So we got that. We got the Jewel Nova, which is the new event system, kind of taken over from the Yordles from before. So we have this thing called like the Adventure Star, and then you have the Rank Star. The Adventure Star is all to do with the kind of for fun game modes like ARAM and things like that. You can just basically unlock rewards, unlock bonus stuff and everything. Oh, they call it the Challenging Star. That's the Rank Star. The Rank Star is called Challenging Star. New rank season 17 will be launching April the 18th at 3 a.m. and will end in July 2025, which obviously July 2025 is when patch 6.2 will come out. We have the new Janna skin. You'll be able to get some of the old skins. There are some changes to ranked. I've kind of read through this a little bit. I'm not really too sure exactly what this means. I think we'll have to get into the game itself and see what this means. But rewards are much easier to obtain, including the ranked reward skins, which allow you to focus more on your ranked climb. They're removing season rewards, season collections, promotion rewards, and legendary rank rewards. Now, I'm not too sure if this means that all of the fortitude cards are going to be removed, because one thing I hate is that you start a new season and everyone gets 10 rank loss preventions, 10 fortitude cards for free at the start of the season. So everyone just freely climbs on like 40% win rate at the start of the season. And that's why everyone kind of hates the rank system and hates the way that rank works at the moment. So I'm not too sure if removing this is going to remove all the fortitude cards. Again, it doesn't actually say specifically, but like obviously the fortitude cards were available in season rewards, promotion rewards. So we'll have to see about that. So, but the rank store has been moved to the Collected Legends Redemption store. So this challenge star thingy with the with that, you know, and then you have the Collected Legends as well. So I think you can get rewards from the Challenger Star and also from the Collected Legends, which is the pack opening. So I'm not too sure what this means. Maybe it just becomes easier now for you to get more rank rewards and more fortitude cards. Again, it's very weird. They got weekly rewards, rank season rewards, legendary season rewards, and beginners Rift Expedition to main mode. So they've kind of removed some of them, added some new ones in like weekly, and I think they talked about like season rewards, some stuff that they talked about in the patch preview. But again, we don't know what's in these rewards yet to see if there's more fortitude cards or less fortitude cards. Again, we'll have to wait and find out. Increase improved the rewards available in new reward system, adjusted time to earn season rewards, added new tiers and monthly reward rankings for legendary queue. Retirement of season rewards will expire at the start of the season, changing to XP boost cards. Okay. Additionally, as mentioned in our annual letter, we're going to be continue to take a look at the rank experience to make improvements to it. We'll update you and keep an eye on these mechanics in 6.1. Our Rising Star. Receive 1 bonus mark when you win a ranked game with S or S rating in gold or... Oh, okay, this is gold or lower. Okay, no. I mean, they boost you enough in gold or lower anyway, so I don't think this makes a lot of difference. Remake for unbalanced team compositions. If your team compositions is deemed unbalanced for ranked, a remake vote will be triggered at the end of champion selection phase. A player on a team will be with unbalanced team composition votes to remake. The game will be determined. Conditions for remake are your team is not full party. 4 or more selected champions are marksmen or mages. So if 4 marksmen get chosen in the same team, then you can remake, I guess. That's a very weird addition. I'm not really sure, not really too sure what situations you have for that. I mean, there are some scenarios where you get like a Vayne top, a Varus mid, Neela jungle, and an AD carry. That's the only scenario that I can think that can maybe happen. But maybe this might, I'm kind of worried because this might kind of provoke like dodging in a way. If you want to dodge someone, you just tell 3 other people to pick marksman or mages. But I'm not too sure if how reliable that is. But weird addition. I'm not too sure how much of this will be used, but not that much, I guess. Last but certainly not least, we're introducing a new rank up event. If the rank up to masters during the event, you earn a title, a master's mark, which will be used for the rest of the season. We're at ranked wings cosmetic, which will be displayed at various locations. Okay, legendary rank updates. Updated tier names. They're just calling it legendary master, legendary grandmaster, legendary challenger. Okay, that's really weird. Also added the legendary. We've also added the legendary energy system. When you get an S or A tier or achieve a great player in a game, you'll now earn more legendary energy. The better you play, the more energy you earn. It seems like fortitude for legendary Q. This here is kind of like Galio's Aegis, right? Where you get an S or an A rating, you get that one's more of like a rank loss prevention, but this is to do with legendary energy, but it doesn't actually say what legendary energy does. I'm assuming it's the same as fortitude, so now they're just adding fortitude to legendary Q. Weird. Made some adjustments to a legendary ranked champion pool. Instead of the current champion score being 1,000 or higher, you can now use champions with an all-time high score of 1,000 or higher, giving you more flexibility. So basically all champions are going to be unlocked for everyone, because 1,000 score is not a lot. It doesn't take you that long. Introducing new bonuses to welcome players to legendary rank. There'll be mark loss protection for your first loss of the season. Oh my god. We're just adding more rank loss preventions to legendary Q now. The only reason why people liked playing legendary Q, even though the mode is not very popular compared to normal rank, is that there's no fortitude system. There's no rank loss preventions. Like, you actually have to be skilled to climb in legendary Q, but guess they're moving all that over. Adjusted ranked tier carryover rules. Your legendary ranked tier and final ranked tier in the previous season will now grant legendary point bonuses at the start of the new season. All of this is just jibber jabber, to be honest. Like, you have to wait until you actually get in game and see what it is. Champion source score system. I don't really care too much about this. Decreasing the base champion score obtainable, lowering the base champion score obtainable in all ranks. Adding a legendary challenge available on Saturdays and Sundays. After legendary rank starts, you can gain bonus champion score, legendary ranked factor, and legendary energy in legendary challenge. Like, what the hell is legendary rank factor, legendary energy in legendary challenge? Like, these are all words that we've never had before, but I just don't know what this actually means. These bonuses are separate upper limit. Okay. Also revamping lane icons. Okay. Level 4 and 5 been added to Master of Versatility. Okay. Collected Legends. This is probably, in my opinion, Collected Legends is probably the best thing that they've added to Wild Rift in a long time. Like, replacing the old daily missions with this like pack card collection sort of thing. So much easier to understand, and it's a great addition. Also, if you haven't already, make sure you spend all of your condensed modes, because that resets next season. Just to keep an eye out for that. And new patch rewards, including chroma skins, exclusive companions, and other exciting and other exciting rewards. Rewards now easier to obtain, and there are even more rewards available. For every card set you complete, you will now receive a surprise chest. Collect all 5 card sets in the collection to obtain the grand reward that collection and unlock the next collection. Damn. Now, easier to obtain the cards you want. The probability of duplicate cards dropping in card packs, especially duplicate gold cards dropping in prismatic packs, has been greatly reduced. Nice. To be fair, I have so many of the Omni shards anyway that I could just spend a bunch and get even more gold packs, so that doesn't bother me. Recurring reward chests. If you earn all 3 grand rewards in the current phase before the next phase is available, we switched over to a recurring collection, a new feature where you can repeatedly earn chests for rewards. That's good, because that's exactly my point. I just get so many cards and so many Omni shards and condensed motes for packs that I don't need anymore because I've completed everything. Yeah, they've done that. That's a good addition. More surprise Easter eggs have been added. Game reward packs now have a chance to trigger Easter eggs. When triggered, you receive Easter egg bonuses. Okay. Crafting cards for collections is now easier. Craft all button. Okay. Opening card packs now takes less time with an open all. Okay. Okay, this is a big thing. Well, we're gone through the jibber jabber. I mean, there's more jibber jabber, but that's the main jibber jabber gone. Anti-cheat. TLDR, I don't know what it's like in other regions. You have to tell me. If you're from like America or SEA, you have to tell me what map hacking is like. But in Europe, I've experienced it myself. Map hacking is absolutely atrocious. Like, it's everywhere at the moment, map hacking. So what Riot are doing is they're adding Vanguard to Wild Rift. Now, Vanguard is the anti-cheat tool for League of Legends, where you have to download a separate application. You have to go through all these rules and apply and all this sort of stuff, basically. I don't know how this is going to work with Wild Rift. It does say embedded Vanguard, so I'm assuming that you don't need to download an extra program like you have to do in PC League of Legends. It will be embedded into the game. Now, this will hopefully stop all the cheaters in the game, all the map hackers, everything like that. Do I have hope? Do I think it will? I'm not too sure, because the thing is with like cheaters in general and different ways of like downloading the game and getting ways of opening maps and fog of war and things like that, cheaters always work around these sort of systems. But Vanguard has been very successful in PC League of Legends, and it stopped a lot of hackers in PC League of Legends. So we have to hope that this only helps Wild Rift in general and stops the map hackers in general. We'll have to wait and see. Starting soon after launch of this patch, if we detect a cheater in a match, the match will be determined with no wins or losses distributed to unaffected players. The cheater will be banned. So it's like an automated system that will automatically detect if someone is cheating or not. You read about embedded Vanguard and our anti-cheat efforts on Wild Rift here. Oh, they probably have an article as well, which will be kind of interesting to read. Customize button for all modes. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. Customize button for all modes. Adding a new champions control tab. Okay. Joystick dead zone. Okay. Change the quick cast and powered attack setting. Manual aim time limit. Okay. Events. Pro surprise. Patch preview trivia. Okay. Champion changes. Aurelian Soul. So what they're doing with Aurelian Soul is they are nerfing the damage that you get on your first ability when you fly from your second ability, but they're buffing the amount of damage that you can do with your first ability. Basically making Aurelian Soul, again, another champion that is easier to play. They're buffing the easy part about Aurelian Soul and nerfing the hard part. The amount of bonus damage that you get from flying and being able to actually, to be fair, they are buffing it late game. I just see the early game numbers, but I didn't read it all. So they're actually buffing it a little bit in late game, but they're nerfing it in early game. Is this just overall a buff then? I thought it was like some sort of adjustment, but it's actually a buff, isn't it? It's a straight buff. Damage per second has gone from 2.5 to 3. And now the flying has been buffed even more in the late game. So it's basically a buff to Radiant Soul. Ignore what I just said. I just see the adjustment. I just thought it was being nerfed because I saw the first number. And I was like, wait a second, it's being buffed. So ignore what I just said. They're just making the champion even more broken. And there is an item that's being buffed a little bit later on down the line. Spoiler alert. As I scroll down here. Rylai's, which is getting buffed. I mean, yes, the AP and the max health is going down. But adding Magic Pen is such a huge boost to the item. And one of the reasons why the item was terrible in the first place. So his core item, Rylai's, is now getting percent magic pen, which is a huge bonus and a huge boost. And also his abilities are getting buffed. So I think Aurelion Sol is going to be a very, very strong champion next patch. Irelia, I've already mentioned already. Irelia is probably one of the worst champions in the game right now. They completely destroyed her early game. They buffed her late game, but to be honest, your power is really in the early game. They're buffing more of the health per level and the armor per level. This is more buffs to like late game Irelia. They're also buffing the passive damage. This is more in the early game, which is great. And then ultimate is also being buffed a little bit. So some nice buffs to Irelia. I don't think this is going to mean too much because they nerfed already quite a lot of damage to Irelia in terms of the early game. But being able to get like more bonus damage now at like earlier stacks as well is quite nice. This will help her again, as I mentioned, in the early game. Yeah, overall, Irelia buffs, it's not a lot. I don't think it'll mean too much. Ziggs might use some of the new items like Bandle's Fantasy. I think Ziggs will be very, very powerful. They're also buffing the champion quite a bit as well. So the bouncing bomb damage has been buffed. It now scales with 25% AP instead of 20% AP. The satchel charge, this is crazy, by the way. The turret destruction threshold has gone from 10-15, 20-25 to 20% of the turret. So you can now destroy a turret when it's 20% health, which is extremely high. I mean, the buff late game is not really too much. This is the big buff. You can now take towers a lot quicker with Ziggs in the early game. Again, his abilities now do damage to towers. And when it's 20% health, you could just execute it with satchel charge, which I think is a crazy buff for Ziggs. You can now actually siege and probably take towers very, very quickly. And also the third ability, the cooldown's gone down by 2 seconds at all levels, which is quite nice. But I think Ziggs with Bandle Fantasy will be very, very powerful next patch. Plus the buffs as well is quite nice. Volibear, I think Volibear top lane is very strong right now. I think Volibear jungle is very weak. I just think his jungle clear speed is way too low, but he's actually pretty strong in the Baron lane. You got like Hot Steel, Divine Sundra, and he just gets very, very tanky. He just has so much sustain as well. Passive lightning damage is getting buffed. 11 to 60 to now 11 to 80. Second ability, bonus damage. The bonus health damage is going up by 1.5%. This will actually help his jungle clear quite a bit. Anything in general that does percent health damage or percent max health damage really helps jungle clear, because obviously like blue buff and red buff will just die a bit quicker. Frenzy bonus damage has also been buffed as well, so a lot of buffs to Volibear's second ability, which is quite nice. And the ultimate, the base damage has gone up. The bonus attack damage has gone up as well. So a lot of buffs to Volibear this patch. I think Volibear will sit in a really, really good spot. The chain lightning damage is great. The bonus health damage on the second ability, and also the ultimate base damage. So overall, some really, really nice buffs to Volibear. Major adjustments. We saw this a little bit in the teaser, that pretty much all mages are getting movement speed buffs on top of new items, on top of boots and mana being buffed, on top of boots lucidity being buffed. Basically, mage is going to be completely broken next patch. That's all you need to know. There's nothing too crazy here. I mean, you got standard champions, Ahri, Lux, Karma, Morgana, Seraphine, Annie. Of course, Annie is one of the best champions that works with movement speed to get into range with the ultimate. But there's no like crazy champions here. They're just all mid laners. There's no like junglers or anything too crazy that will... So like Evelyn's not here, for example, right? So it's not every single AP champion. It's literally just AP mages. Obviously Teemo's in here, but Teemo's not really a jungler, but might make Teemo a little bit more annoying. But all I'm seeing here is a bunch of mages that get a movement speed buff. So I mean, it's quite nice for them. They can just dodge abilities more often. They can roam around a lot quicker. We'll talk about it a little bit later on in terms of the item changes, but it allows you to clear ways quicker. You can rotate quicker, get back to mid lane quicker. So I think Riot are moving Wild Rift to allow mid laners to roam more often throughout the game, which would be quite interesting. New items. Now, I've tested some of these items on PBE already with some champions. I'll probably do a stream maybe tomorrow talking about the new items and kind of get you to understand what these new items are and how to compare them to other items. Bandle's Fantasy is basically Luna's Echo. It's basically the same item as Luna's Echo. It gives all the same stats, like with some adjustments. I think the ability power is like 5 less. You get 5 more ability haste instead, but the stats are very, very similar and also cost the same amount of gold. The build path is also the same. The big difference is the passive. So the passive with Luna's Echo really helps in terms of wave clear, trying to do a bunch of splash damage, whereas Bandle's Fantasy is more to do with mages that want to, we call them artillery mages, so long range mages that want to use abilities at range that you can deal some bonus damage. I don't think Ludens will really be played anymore, in my opinion, with the changes to Boots of Mana, which I'll talk about a little bit later on. But Wave Clear for mid laners is already very powerful. So I think an item like Bandle Fantasy is going to be a great alternative. So damage an enemy champion with an active ability spawns a trap at their feet. After a brief delay, the trap deals magic damage equal to 100 plus 15% ability power to enemies' hits. 8-second cooldown per target. If the target is hit with more than one trap on the same champion within a short duration, traps after first damage only deal 20%. The big thing here is the damage. So the damage of Ludens is 110 plus 10%. So the scaling of the Bandle's Fantasy passive is going to be a lot better in the mid and late game. This, after a brief delay, you're probably wondering how long this is. This is honestly like a second. It's very, very quick. Like brief delay is very, very quick. After a second, it explodes underneath them, and the area is quite big as well for Flame Blossom. So it's quite a big area that you can hit champions with. Again, this is going to work very, very well for champions like potentially Ziggs. Syndra is going to be very powerful as well. There's a lot of champions that can benefit from this. Now, these traps do not follow champions. So if you see a trap underneath your feet, you can dash away from it. You can flash away from it as well, but you have to be so quick. But if you get hit obviously by CC, by like, I don't know, Ziggs third ability, for example, and get slowed, or even Syndra's stun, it's going to be very difficult to try and escape this trap. But more scaling damage. Again, this doesn't work on minions, so you're not wasting the passive on minions. Mid lane's champions wave clear is already great anyway, so you don't actually need Ludens. So I think it's going to be the standard first item now for most mid lane mages. Another item that's going to be a standard first item for some mages and some assassins is Malignance. Again, kind of similar to Ludens in terms of stats. 3000 gold, 75 ability power, maximum mana, ability haste, magic pen. Very, very similar. I think the build path is slightly different. We have a Ring Revelation in here. And we also have a Fiendish Codex. So instead of Blasting Wall, you have Fiendish Codex instead. So what does Malignance do? First, your ultimate abilities gain 20 ability haste. So this is really good on champions that want their ultimate as much as possible. This is the first time we're getting ultimate ability haste. And I think it's going to be very, very powerful. I did say in general the ultimate abilities have very low cooldowns anyway, but reducing that cooldown even more is going to be very, very scary. Champions like Lissandra, Annie, Ahri benefit from this a lot. And the passive, damaging a champion with your ultimate burns the ground underneath them for 3 seconds, dealing magic damage equal to 60 plus 5% ability power per second, and reducing their magic resist by 10. The burn radius increases with damage, reaching a maximum radius of 800 damage. So the more damage you have in your build, the bigger the radius is going to be for Malignance, so the harder it's going to be for enemies to be able to escape. So I talk about these champions, Ahri, Annie, and Lissandra. The reason why these champions work so well with Malignance, Ahri has multiple charges of her ultimate. Now the big thing here is with Malignance is that it procs on every single damage. So with Ahri, for example, the first time you use ultimate and you hit an enemy champion, it will proc Malignance. When the ultimate comes up again and you use your ultimate again, it will proc Malignance. This item does not have any cooldowns. The only time it doesn't proc every single time is like damage over time. So like Teemo, Swain, it won't proc every single tick damage. I think it procs like maybe at the start and at the finish as well. I don't know exactly. I probably need to test it more. I'm not too sure exactly how that works, but it doesn't proc like every single time you do tick damage with like Teemo. It will proc on like the first instance of damage. So yeah, again, as I mentioned, Ahri is going to be very powerful because you can charm after using your ultimate as well to give your abilities more damage. Lissandra is great. Another great thing as well is like, for example, Lissandra's ultimate if you go into the backline, if you ultimate yourself and say there's 5 enemy champions around you, 5 malignance pools will be underneath every single champion. So there'll be 5 malignance pools. Basically depends on how many champions you hit with your ultimate. If you hit 1 champion, there'll be 1 pool. If you hit 5 champions, there'll be 5 pools. And again, this damage stacks on top of each other as well. So you could do some huge, massive AoE damage again with Lissandra, and also the same with Annie. Huge AoE Annie and damage with her Tibbers. It doesn't work on the second part of Tibbers where Tibbers jumps, but the first part is really all you need, to be fair. Again, champions will be stunned in place, which enhances her other abilities, because reducing mag resist means that you can deal more damage. There's probably other champions as well that I've not mentioned. Seraphine can also work very well with this. Karma as well. There are a lot of champions that I think Malignance is going to work great on, and that's the whole reason why I'm going to be live streaming a new patch, testing out these champions, testing out these items, and seeing what they're like. But this is a great addition to the game, and so is this. I think these 2 items are great because every single champion right now, every single mage either builds Ludens or they skip Ludens because they have Boots of Mana, and then they go for like Infinity Orb first or Death Cap first. So yeah, good first item choices now, and you have a bit of flexibility, which is great. New boost Enchanted Hextech GLP. Not really too sure how strong this item is going to be. You fire a spray of icy bolts that explode on the first enemy hit, dealing magic damage and also slowing enemies hit. It will make it easier for other abilities to be hit. So say this might be good on like Lux, Morgana, for example. You can use the slow and it makes it easier to hit your dark binding or your light binding. I think in general though, this is not going to be as strong. I still think like Stasis is very strong. Quicksilver is very strong. Like there are still other boosts and chants in my opinion that are much stronger than Hextech GLP. But again, it's something that I'll test and I'll see what it's like. Boots of Mana. One of the reasons why I think that Luden's Echo is going to be a completely dead item now is that Boots of Mana has a new passive where attacks and active abilities deal 18 bonus physical damage to minions. So instead of having that spread damage from Ludens and the extra damage that you can deal to minions in the wave, you now don't need to buy Ludens. You could just buy Boots of Mana first, and then you're dealing 18 bonus physical damage with your attacks and your abilities. So you'll be able to clear waves quicker, even without Ludens. So it gives you an opportunity to buy items like Malignance or Bandle's Fantasy instead, because you now deal the bonus damage from Boots. Great. Fantastic addition. I only boost Lucidity. These are by far the worst boots in the game right now. The ability Haste is nice, but in terms of the other stats, it's terrible. It only gives health. And that's it. I think if this boots maybe gave like AP, like it might be better, but they probably don't want to compete with something like Boots of Mana. They are given the item mana regeneration though, and the reason why this is really strong is for like enchanter supports. Most enchanter supports go Boots of Mana, not only for the ability power. Of course, the ability power is great because it enhances your heals and shields. The magic penetration doesn't mean anything for Boots of Mana on enchanter supports, but a big reason was that mana regeneration. The mana regeneration on Boots of Mana was so good for enchanters that they can just keep spamming their abilities over and over again, and it was why it was very, very strong. But now this has been moved over to Boots Lucidity. There could be a scenario where some enchanter supports now build Boots Lucidity, because you still have the mana regeneration, but now you have a whole bunch of ability haste to keep using your items over and over again. So this would be interesting to see if, you know, some enchanters might build this item. I mentioned this already, Rylai's Crystal Scepter. I think this is a big buff for the item. Yes, it's losing 50 AP and 5 ability power, but this item gaining Magic Pen, I don't think people understand how big of a buff this is. We don't have Void Staff in Wild Rift. We don't have an item that has % magic penetration. Every single AP item in the game has % magic penetration. And Rylai's was one of the only items, or one of the only carry items, that didn't have % magic pen. And that's why this item was so bad unless you're playing champions like Aurelion Sol or Morgana, where the slow actually benefits you. But now that the item is getting % magic pen, you're going to be able to do so much more damage now, and this item is very, very viable for a lot of mid lane mages. So I think it's going to be a very scary buff, and it's going to be very, very powerful. Sudden Impact, basically all they've done with the description is they've reworded it, but they've now also added a buff at level 5 and level 9. So they've basically given the item a buff, but instead of like, this is the same thing. For 4 seconds after exiting stealth, you deal 10 to 80 true damage. This is basically the same. Damage an enemy champion deals 10 to 80 true damage after, you know, for 4 seconds after you blink, dash, teleport, blah, blah, blah. The big thing now is that at level 5 you deal 10 additional true damage, and at level 9 you deal 20 additional true damage, and you gain movement speed for 1.5 seconds after dealing damage. Now, of course, this 80 true damage is not going to be you're not going to be at 80 true damage until you reach level 15, but still, anyway, like, you're probably going to be getting, you know, at level 9 you're probably going to be getting like just over half this, like maybe 60 or 70 true damage. So you're going to be dealing more true damage at level 9 than what you did with the original sudden impact anyway. And I think this is quite a nice buff. Again, with the movement speed as well, it's very, very nice when you're dashing and, you know, dealing damage in general, which is quite nice. But sudden impact has been like, it was a very strong rune, then it was a really terrible rune, and now I think it's going back into the very strong rune territory. There are already a lot of champions that have dash, a lot of assassins that will benefit from this a lot. And I think this will definitely be on the radar of a lot of champions and a lot of, you know, players that really want to deal as much damage as possible. So sudden impact buff, very, very nice. Transcendency, I don't know why it has removed and new, because everything is the same. Look, same. The only thing is that after a basic ability hits, you reduce the ability's cooldown by 10% instead of 15%. I mean, Transcendence was probably the strongest rune in the entire game. Every single champion can go Transcendence just for the ability haste, really. Like, honestly, sometimes there are times where you don't even use this part of the of Transcendence. Sometimes it's nice, but most of the time you don't even use it. Like Enchanter supports, for example, right? Like, when are you ever going to hit a target with an ability, and when is it ever going to reduce it, and, you know, when is it ever going to benefit you at level 11 and above? Most of the time you're using this because of the 12 ability haste that you get, which is really, really big to get you cooldown. But yeah, anyway, 15% down to 10% at level 9 for Transcendence. So a bit of a nice nerf there. Summoner's Rift, some changes to the map. Some monsters can now evolve. Red and blue buff already on the battlefield will evolve at a set time every game. This basically already happens. TLDR with this. If a blue buff spawns at 11 minutes and 30 seconds, it won't evolve into the evolved version until the next spawn. So, you know, that shared blue buff and red buff that you can give around to all of your teammates when you take it after 12 minutes? If a blue buff spawned at 11 minutes 30 seconds, and that same blue buff was alive until 12 minutes 30 seconds, it wouldn't give your whole team the buff. Now it actually automatically changes at 7:30 and at 12 minutes. So if you do kill that blue buff at 12:30 and it's been alive since 11:30, you'll be able to get the buff, which I think is really, really nice. Oh, sorry. I can feel my throat being really bad. Enchanted Gates, they've now reduced the cooldown from 50 seconds down to 10 seconds, and the mid-game teleport endpoints have been repositioned. Cool. I don't know where these repositions are. Again, I'll probably have to check PBE to see what that is. But a cooldown after teleport is quite nice. It means that more people can use it. During the mid-game, 7:30 to 11:30, using Enchanted Gates grants a 3-second decay in movement speed bonus after you land. Can only be used by allied champions during the mid-game. Wait a second. Wait, does this mean you cannot use enemies' Enchanted Gates now? Enchanted Gates can only be used by allied champions during the mid-game. I think this means that you can't go into an enemy jungle and use their gates, because you can do it at the moment. You can get like a crazy flank off, and you can go from one side of the map to the other by using the enemy's gates. I'm assuming this means that you cannot do that anymore, which is a pretty big change. Because like, especially with things like split pushing, for example, if you are pushing into the enemy's jungle with split pushing, you normally use their gates and you go onto the other side of the map to try and join a team fight. But now you have to go all the way back to your side of the jungle and then look to rotate. So I think this is a big nerf actually to split pushing in general, if that's what I understand from this. Decay move speed is quite nice though. Ecstatic Scorpion was summoned. The Ecstatic Scorpion, while summoning, the Ecstatic Scorpion, your location will be revealed. Turret damage has been reduced from 100% down to 80%. When in range, turrets will prioritize attacking the Scorpion over minions. This is a huge change. I mean, this Scorpion is so fucking broken. It's so disgusting. Like, they just buffed Scorpion over and over again. More turret damage, more HP, summon quicker, things like that. And this Scorpion is so impactful in the Baron lane. But now when the turret prioritizes, so at the moment, the turret will prioritize the Scorpion last. But now they're prioritizing the Scorpion first. This is definitely going to stop a lot of pushes and a lot of tower platings being taken in the early game. So I really, really like this change. I think this change is great. And also they reduced the turret damage as well by 20%, which is kind of crazy. We also adjusted the Starly Scorpion stats to balance the impact brought by the change to the turret priority. So maybe they buffed some of the stats, but in general, I think the Starly Scorpion being like focused first is a huge, huge change. Enchanted gifts, PvE only. I don't really care about this because I don't play PvP at all. If you want to read it, you can quickly read it. I'll stick to this for 5 seconds, but it's basically the loot kits coming back, but for PvP. Unbound Frenzy, again, if you want to read this, I don't play this mode. I only play really ranked, so if you want to read through this, you can. Just some extra bonuses that you can do with gameplay. Then you have ARAM, the new A8 ARAM, whatever this is, and Arena as well, coming back, which is nice. All right, system updates, optimizations. Enchantment purchases. When you buy mid-tier boots different from the boots enchant in your loadout, the boots in your loadout bar will be automatically updated. That's cool. I mean, it's only just quality of life change. After buying enchantment, you can exchange your boots for other mid-tier boots of the same enchantment in your shop. The exchange cost is calculated during the same rule as other items. Does this still mean you have to sell the boots and buy the boots? Does it still do that mechanic? Because at the moment, if you want to change from like armor boots to attack speed boots or something like that, you have to sell your boots and then buy the boots, which loses you a lot of gold. So I wonder if this actually saves you gold, or it's more of like a saving time sort of thing. So you don't have to click on the boots, press sell, click on the new boots, buy. You just buy the new boots. Could just be that. Single player mode optimizations, call player behavior mail, and a standalone player behavior mail tab for mail related to violation reports and penalties. Still no honor system, by the way. Chrome system has been updated. We expanded Chroma skin pool while making them easier to get. Thank God. I never understood this Chroma system, by the way. Never. Upgraded Chroma skin artwork. Secret design has been upgraded to include color changing art. Simplified the Chroma raffle draw. Thank you. Jesus. Remove detectors. Any undisputed detectors will be converted into scanners. I don't even know what the detectors are, to be fair. Companions. Upgraded companion system. Yellow dot notifications. Add a new yellow dot notification display. Whoop-de-doo. Customized buttons. Added button transparency to custom layout settings. You know, I could adjust transparency levels for various buttons. And then we have new skins. Soul Fighter, Soul Fighter, Soul Fighter, Soul Fighter, Soul Fighter. Bug fixes. Yeah, these bug fixes don't mean anything. That's everything. That's all the patches for, or patch notes, or changes, or whatever you want to call it, for patch 6.1. Big changes. Champion changes obviously coming in. New items. Anti-cheat system, which I don't think the anti-cheat system will be in place in day one, but I think this is probably the biggest update and the biggest change for this patch. And then we obviously have Rise. But yeah, I think overall the patch is, in my opinion, very small compared to like 6.0 or some of the other big patches, because normally there's a lot of champion changes and even more item changes. This is not as big as some of the other changes, some of the other big patches, but some still pretty impactful stuff in here that will hopefully improve the gameplay and the meta in general. So that'd be quite nice. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this content, and I hope you enjoyed the video and the rundown. Again, just a reminder, if you do want to enter in the giveaway, like the video, comment under the channel and subscribe as well, and then you'll be entered into giveaway, which I'll give away the codes in the next few days. So enjoy the rest of the day, enjoy the new patch. Again, be on the lookout for my streams later on today and tomorrow, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.